Hello and welcome, dear friends and followers of Dentist.camera. Again, live with the author, episode 55.
Come on.
Federico Ferraris. Buonasera, Federico. It's a great pleasure and honor. Do you remember you were on the show at episode 27? So this was
Come
a while
on.
ago.
Yes, absolutely. Some times ago. Okay. So
Yeah, time
I'm
is.
going to share with my page. Let me see if
Yes,
it's
sure.
working. If it's
Feel free to share
working.
it. Feel free to
Okay.
share it with your
Yeah,
page.
it's going. Perfect. Okay. Great. So how many authors did you interview? So much. So many
Many.
guys.
You are now number 55. I did also some other interviews. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying talking to people like you. I had also outside of the dental field, photographers, CEOs, other interesting people. But I thought now it's the time to go back to Federico because I want to talk with you about some about the future. Let's say because after this pandemic being hopefully going to an end, we don't know. We don't really know. Let's not talk about the war because this is terrible. But life has to go on. And we will talk today about the future of dentistry, of dental education, because I know that you are involved in all of these topics and you are the perfect guest to talk about this. For all out there who don't know who Federico is, maybe you give a short introduction about you and what you are actually doing today. Federico, please.
Thanks. Thanks for this interview, for these questions. So, first of all, yes, you mentioned the war. We don't want to stay on this topic, but all wars are a tragedy, and when people are suffering for the hand of other human being is something very dramatic. So we are very close to our Ukrainian friends, but for all the people that are really suffering for these type of things. And as we did in the last years, absolutely, we have to go on. We have to move on with our lives. But yeah, this is something that cannot be. I mean, cannot be forget. Okay, so talking about dentistry, something a little bit easier compared to very important geopolitical problems. What I'm doing and who I am, I'm a dentist in a small town in Italy, Alessandria. Okay, average size, not very small but not big. And I'm in the northwest of Italy, not far away from Milan, Turin, and Genova. And I'm very focused on restorative dentistry and aesthetic dentistry. So, talking about academies, I'm the incoming president of AIC, Italian Academy of Conservative and Restorative Dentistry. It's an important group. Alessandro, you know it very well because you were our guest speaker in the past. You are a friend of many of us, and you know very well this association, this academy. I'm also the current president of SCAD, Society for Color and Appearance in Dentistry, based in US. You also, Alessandro, were before me the European ambassador of this group, so you know very well the group and you know very well the topic. So I'm a member, active member in other academies like European Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry, American Academy of Restorative Dentistry, and so on. What I'm doing now, I'm split my life in between patients, half of the week, more or less, a little bit more, it depends on the weeks, and training. So I have my educational company. I based my courses in Milan, hands-on, theoretical, mainly focus on restorative and aesthetic dentistry. This is just to introduce myself.
So okay, so let's jump into the next question that is, let's say, the follow-up of this week. We will come back to talk about academies and other stuff, but what are your thoughts about the future of dental education? Over the last 2 years, there was an ongoing discussion. Should we move away from from in presence education to more online education? what do you think? Will the future be mixed events, as also the big companies are promoting? So, for example, many big companies around the globe, they tell people, you don't need to come to the office 5 days a week. It's enough if you come 2 days in the office and you do 3 days home office. So basically, they save time, they are more efficient. What do you think in dental education? Dentistry is a profession where we need to work with our hands. We are not like, I would say, we are not lawyers or any other profession that could be trained online with Zoom conferences and written exams. We need to work with our hands. We have to we have to improve our manual skills. But nevertheless, what do you think? What is the future of dental education from your point of view?
Yes, you are perfectly right, because in these 2 years of pandemic, we discovered more, and we had more attention on these online opportunities, and we don't have to forget that, and we have to understand how we can use these type of opportunities. For sure, we had a sort of overdose of online events, especially in 2020, because in a while we had so many contents, especially for free. And this is something that also we have to be reset from ourselves, because we think that if it's online, it's for free. We take for granted that we don't have to pay because it's online. But behind that, there are many efforts, there are educational strategies, there are someone that is preparing, there are someone that is doing articles, that is studying, that is performing cases in order to show to you, maybe on your mobile phone or in your device. So I think that this could be, this will have the role of a support of the education in the industry. I also received some invitation from the other part of the ocean, or some oceans, east and west, so to have a hands-on online, so some local tutors, and I can share this online. So I think that we don't have to exaggerate, because the opportunity to meet people, being in touch as human beings, to have that emotional feeling of event in presence, is not something that you can easily substitute with an online. But online can be an amazing strategy. You can save money, you can save time, you can save pollution, you can save a lot of aspects, and so we can mix the two strategies. So also in my courses, in example, I have some courses that I had in several weekends during a semester, and I'm also enforcing the message, some contents with some webinars beside the online, the presence, beside the regular educational path.
Because you made a good statement at the beginning. There was too much online and everything was for free, and now people think that all this is for free. So let me add 2 comments to this. First, I had an invitation for a conference that was supposed to be a physical event, let's say in person, and then I decided, because there was like a corona going up, not to attend. And then they were like a little bit angry that I was telling them not to show up. And I told them, look, I will record my lecture and send you my lecture. Then the organizer of the meeting told me, yeah, but if you send a video, we will pay you less. And then I was telling him, look, this is an offense in regard to my work, because I have to tell you, if I have to record a lecture, you don't want me to stop. I don't know what to talk and making mistakes in my slides. You want a perfect presentation. If I'm on the spot and I don't feel good, maybe I make mistakes and nobody cares. So basically, the advantage of a pre-recorded lecture is that it's to the point. You don't talk around topics. You keep your time, because it's 45 minutes, so the recording is 45 minutes. And what I would suggest is, for example, if there's a conference in San Francisco, it doesn't make sense for ecological reasons that people from Europe fly to San Francisco to attend the conference in person. It was different some years ago that you say, okay, I take my family and we do some vacation there. But as many other dentists in different countries, you cannot deduct that from taxes anymore. So this is then your private trip, and you pay 100% for it if you want to do that. Otherwise, you could say, okay, we organize 100 people from around San Francisco. We invite Federico as a lecturer, but he will appear on the screen, so that you create like mixed events with less attendance in place. You can also save money because you don't need huge event locations. So you say, okay, we will limit it to 100 people, but that are present, and maybe there are some Europeans and other, but you don't want two jumbo jets full of people flying over to attend the conference. So what do you think about this? That would be also in relation to active tendencies in many countries to be more green, to be more ecological, avoid traveling. Big companies in Europe say everything that can be reached by train should be reached by train. No flying around, no conferences anymore. Do you think that also in dentistry this will
Honestly,
come?
I'm not sure that the majority of the companies are so focused on ecological problems. Usually companies are a little bit more focused on, not on ecological, but in economical troubles. So for companies, they understood that if they can save money with the transfer expenses of the managers, of the members of a board or something like that, is much better. And they don't have cost in compared in the past. Yes, the ecological problem is absolutely taken in consideration. But on the other hand, if we go deeper in this type of topic, we don't have to buy a certain type of car. We don't have to buy so many clothes. We don't have to waste so much food. So what I mean, if I have a big congress and I want to have in Italy, an example, or in Spain or whatever, two American guests, and to have them on the stage physically, to have them in touch during the dinner, during the social event with my members, with the people, to have the opportunity that my guests, my attendees in my Congress can meet them, these stars in the corridor, and to interact with them. This is something that makes sense. So the cost of this type of transfer from one part, from Europe to US or from Europe to Far East, it makes sense anyway. For sure, we can consider this mixed situation, especially for those people maybe that maybe are not so attractive but are interesting, and maybe we have to push more in order to be discovered from the audience. And I think that is an opportunity, definitely. I don't think that we can have the total switch in between online and in presence if someone is coming from abroad or far away.
No, but the idea was like to say, to mix it a little bit more. I told you, I think it's important to have an audience in the room that interacts with the speaker. But let's say of 10 speakers, 5 are present physically and 5 are online, and you can also add much more audience to your conference. So
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely. You can
just
put it
having the
online.
100 people in the room. You can have 10,000. You can have a much broader exposure. But then this this leads me to a point that I discussed with other people. I think many of the lecturers, they prefer not to go online, because they prefer to have 50 lectures in 2 years traveling around, and you can have the same lectures 50 times, because you go to a new place and it's a new lecture for those people in this place.
But this is also a part. Yes, this is also a part of the. It's like to be a performer in the theater or in the movie. If you perform in a movie, that content is online, so is spread around, and but for the cinema, for the Hollywood, the good news is that they pay enough well for one performance, so you can have your rights.
So you prefer the theater style rather than the Netflix or Hollywood style?
I love both. It depends. If someone is paying you like Hollywood, good. If someone like it happened many times, and I'm telling you as a speaker, but also as a manager, we can say, or anyway, part of boards, okay? This attitude that nowadays you invite speakers and you negotiate, you dealing the price, the fee, because it's an important event. So it's something that is absolutely understandable, because I live in both sides, okay? And so I can understand both. But we have to put a value, guys. We have to put a value. If you want to have George Clooney at your birthday party, you have to pay him. So you cannot think that you invite George Clooney or Brad Pitt and it's just because it's a good party you will enjoy. So for someone of our colleagues, me included, is work. I have a team. I have a company for educational. I do my best in order to provide the best services possible, but we have to put a value on this. And so the online content, my suggestion or my reflection is that what I can put online is something that can be spread around. Otherwise, you don't put it online. If you want to preserve some contents for the theater version, should be for that. And otherwise, you can decide that some part of your content can be spread, and that's it.
But the question is, I know, and this maybe is a little bit provocative question. So, do you prefer lecture 50 times in 2 years, and let's take an average? You get 2,000, 1,000, 3,000. Doesn't matter. You get some X for each lecture, and you multiply it by 50. And I know if you do the online lecture, that you say, okay, we can spread this now around the globe. So Federico has made a statement about his latest preparation technique, and now it's like everybody can watch it. You will never get the 50 times X for that. And honestly speaking, we have to find new solutions to motivate, because for me, I think it's important that we spread information as quick as possible, as widely as possible, and not say, okay, I want to keep it for myself and walk with this information I do a world tour.
I'm building up some contents for this proposal in order to spread, but it depends also at what type of your career you are. What are your goals? Sometimes you laugh behind my back and you write me private message, say Globetrotter, you are everywhere. But tell you the truth, compared to some years ago, I want to travel less. Now with the pandemic, I traveled zero. But even without pandemic, I watched myself in the mirror, and I told myself before the pandemic, I want to change life. I'm not enjoying anymore to spend my life in airplanes, in airports, in hotels, to go in New York to stay one day, and then or in Sao Paulo or in Dubai, and then stay more time in the flight compared to what the time I passed there. It was a certain period of my life that I was sleeping in the airplane, going back to see my kids. And then alone, okay, you have many connections, but it's an experience. So every one of us has to decide. So I don't judge the people that want to stay in their airplane the entire life. I don't judge the people that want to do for some period. I don't judge those that decide to quit with this type of life or to reduce a lot. So I'm rejecting many invitations. Tell you the truth, in Italy, I reject almost a 100% limitation. So in Italy, I mainly do my own courses, something with the AIC, because now we have the Congress. I'm the president, the incoming president, so I do with my pleasure. But tell you the truth, I'm rejecting.
Yeah.
I'm rejecting also many international events because I put some rules, some criteria that should be respected, because I would like to go there. There are people better than me, younger than me, with more manual dexterity than me, and so they can feed their ego. I don't want to feed my ego so much at this point. I did it in the past already, and so this is why I tell you, I'm not focused. If you tell me there are certain specific rules because you have to accept this invitation, yes, and compared to what is coming as invitation, I decide. But also to spend a free weekend with my kids on the slopes in the mountains, skiing is a good news that in the last years, I didn't do. And so
yeah, absolutely. It's obvious. If you're young, you want to travel. You even don't have family. So I totally agree with you. I traveled a lot as well, and with the age, you focus back on saying, okay, I want to spend more time with my family, with my friends. And also during the pandemic, everything slowed down a little bit. And that's okay, and we will find a new rhythm of all this. So let's jump into the next question. I'm wondering, you in your introduction, you already told me that you are a member in several academies. So I recently decided to reduce the number of membership in academies, because I realized that it's hardly impossible to really put enough energy of physical presence, of support, of so many academies. So how do you see this? Now maybe some academies you have been pushed in, maybe you didn't even want to be there, I don't know. But what are your thoughts about being member in so many different and also international and big academies?
Yes, I just have been in Chicago because I'm a member in American Academy of Restorative Dentistry. I'm in a committee that will build up the program, the SAFE program of 2024. I'm president in another American Academy at this moment. I will be president in this European, this Italian Academy. So I think allow me to specify a concept before. Why a dentist like you, like me, like others, a clinician, should be member in a scientific society, in an academy. Many of us wants to have the pin here on the jacket. As you can see, I'm member in maybe 7, 8 academies, active member, and I don't have pin in this moment. So I don't care about this, okay? But okay, could be part of the game. What for me is very important to be part of a group is when I'm sitting in the close meeting. I remember an example in Versailles in Paris. I was close to you in the next chair, and we did a lot of comments. And I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from the other one was maybe Giovanni Zucchelli or some other friends, Andrea Ricci and others, okay? Didier, Dici, so many. We can, Iñaki Gamborena, I can mention so many. And this is, for me, is very important. When we have the close meeting, when we have the group that is gathered, I want to learn from enlightened mind. This is what, for me, most important aspect. So now there are more academies than dentists, probably. And just to have the pin, someone wants to be part of a very unknown society academy of Europe. This is something that I don't judge about this, but if I have to give a message, select the academies that for you can represent an improvement, can allow to you to go to the next level. Okay, and so nowadays the academies are living a sort of competitors that is not a direct competitors. If you have two academies on restorative dentistry, they are direct competitors. But like you can teach me marketing, you have also the indirect competitors. And indirect competitors nowadays are social media, are these groups that has no rules, just someone that own and found the group and decide all about the governance. And so it's much easier, it's much immediate, and for someone it's more attractive. Don't have to spend a lot of energies in order to prepare the cases, in order to be filtered from a committee, because you can have the pin once with just a WhatsApp message. You can gold member or whatever, honorary member of a group. So what is the focus for me? That now we had this overdose of groups, and now we have to reestablish some rules. We have to put the value properly. So I'm thinking that I'm going to reduce the number of the societies I have to be part of. But on the other hand, I think that for a clinician to follow the right academy, to follow an inspiring academy that has some rules, some governance, and that can express the state of the art of that topic, of that type of clinical outcome, is absolutely important in order to evolve. And then we can grab information from many parts, also from groups. Also. So I think that academies are not died, just to conclude, but I think that should be selected from our part in a proper way.
Because I see what you have stated correctly. Over the last years, there was like a raise in number of academies, especially in the digital dental field. They were popping up like mushrooms everywhere. New academies, and honestly speaking, for example, these American academies for me are more like like golf clubs or Rotary clubs. They have like a different attitude. They exist much longer than many academies in Europe, so they have a different tradition from my point of view. So it's also at a certain age, if you have reached a certain level, then you can be part of this group of honorary people. So there are some different styles also in culture, as we can see, and you know exactly. There's a huge difference between American aesthetic dentistry and European aesthetic dentistry. So this was like a side question I would like to ask you. What is because I remember that we discussed also merging journals, merging academies, and at the end we find out, well, this ocean is not only big, it really separates two different worlds of dentistry. So being in both worlds, how do you feel that, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I'm happy to have the opportunity and to have the opportunity to experiment the different approach in US and in Europe. So for me is absolutely good for my personal experience, for my growth, and it's quite strange because usually from Europe there is something that is more traditional, and from US in all fields. From US we have the new version, the something new, no? But in education, in the industry, in these scientific societies, is something like in the opposite. So if I go to the American Academy of Restorative Dentistry, I see something that appears more traditional than in our European academies, because the American Academy of Restorative was founded 100 years ago. And the more ancient academies that we have in Italy probably are from 40 years or 35 or 30. So it's a different approach. And if you ask me about aesthetic dentistry, the concept of aesthetics from Europe and the US is slightly different, because in US you want to see from many patients this type of Hollywood smile, and in Europe, in many times we want to have widened teeth. We would like to see high value teeth, but we are looking for some details that you cannot really understand. That maybe there are veneers, crowns, or composite or whatever. In US, I see also in some, not in all lectures, but in some lectures that this very highlighted restorative approach in these smiles, it appears like, okay, wow, I can show you that I have this renewed smile, and I want that in some way is evident. So this is something that is different from the two approaches. But yeah, it's just something that is cultural. So I don't think that someone is wrong and someone is.
No, I was not. I was not
No,
judging about wrong.
No, me too, me
wrong or
too.
right.
I'm just underlining it. So
Yeah. So let's jump into the next thing that is interesting, and especially because you also grew up in a world also in lecturing, education that was dominated by men. And now I don't know how it's in Italy, but in many countries, in Switzerland, we have 60-70% of the students are female. Other countries are even higher. In Eastern Europe, for many years, dentistry is already a female profession. And I always state I'm totally not against women, don't get me wrong, but there is a correlation between the potential income in a profession and the selection of the profession. If the possibility is higher to earn more money, you have more men interested in this profession than women. So in the 80s, the bank business was huge. Everybody wanted to go to the bank. Dentistry, the average income in dentistry is declining. It's going down. But dentistry is also a perfect part-time profession. So so it fits perfect also in the female approach of also want to have a family, or if it happens, it's not the man getting pregnant, it's still the woman. So they have like this dilemma of family and profession that you didn't have, that I didn't have. I had my wife was taking care of the children, and I was allowed to build up my office. So the same, I think, with you. So how do you see, or maybe give us also an insight what's happening in Italy or in the countries you visit with this change, with this shift from a male dominated profession to a female profession?
yeah, I think that this is a trend that is quite evident in Switzerland, in Italy, in Spain, in many countries. I don't have exactly the data of this ratio, but is already from some years that the female proportion, the female presence in our profession is quite high. And I think that is absolutely good. I'm not pushing in one way or another way. Usually I'm quite feminist, so I'm quite from the women power, from the women, because I think that, honestly, I'm telling what is my perception. I see that girls many times as some sensitivity, as some aspects that in our profession are very, very useful. But if we want to think something similar, an example is for the cuisine. The big chef are usually men, but for a good performance if we consider the normal average of this profession, is very, very well represented by female. And someone is complaining because say, oh, come on, I want to see more female speakers. But guys, tell you the truth, to be a speaker is not I take the microphone and I go to tell you something about my profession on a stage, on a podium. Is something that is another profession if you want to be a professional of it. And is exactly in the opposite way you were mentioning, against family, against private life, against managing, because you are like, a gypsy. And it's something that is difficult to combine. And I think this is one of the most important reasons, because we have more female into the profession. We have amazing professionals that are girls or women, but on the opposite, on the other hand, in the opposite side, we have speaker, KOL, key opinion leaders that still are guys. Because are two different approaches. You spend the night, you spend evening to take the picture, to set the cases, and this is something that is not very related with a routine workflow. And I think that probably we will not see this switch on the KOL in the speakers soon. Maybe yes, I don't know, but probably no. But I think that, as you are mentioning, for a part-time profession, in order to schedule your timing, you schedule your week, is absolutely a good profession. And the girls are doing an amazing job in our work.
Yeah, but I think you stated it correctly. I don't think that you will find as many women as men being able. I'm not talking about willing to be able, but really be able, because of their life, of their family, of their structures, and also of this new trend of work-life balance. So I see if you're looking for new dentists, male or female dentists working in your office, they say, but I don't want to work 100%. Let's start with 60% or 80% or 40%, because I earn enough, and then I can do my hobby and take care of my family.
Or gym, or
and then if this continues like this, then I see that sooner or later, maybe it takes another 10 years, I don't know, or 20 years, but there will be a lack of speakers, key opinion leaders, of people that is really pushing hard outside the dental office, not in the dental office. So that's why I was mentioning in the beginning, where do you see the future of dental education, of training? I think that the peak of number of conferences is we have reached that peak, and now it's going slowly down, and it will go down because the amount of speakers will be reduced. So then you have to take your lecture, for example, and broadcast it on 10 events, so that you multiplicate yourself, because there's a lack of speakers or information. Or what do you think?
Honestly, what I see, we have more speakers than audience in this moment, because compared when you and me started to document cases, we did the physical slides. Come on, do you remember what it means? That you don't know, you cannot check the picture immediately. You will discover when the photographer is giving you back the slides. And so everything was so difficult. To record a video was something like professional setup. And now we have more speakers because the information is going very fast. We have, thanks to this technology, the spreading of the knowledge for luck so fast and so well. Second, it's much easier to take documentation. It's much easier to take pictures, to take videos. Unfortunately, it's also much easier to modify the pictures. And so also the number of good dentists that ideally should be average becomes very good, also maybe with other tools, but I don't want to stay on this. The fact that you are right. I see many of the young generation in my country that the first thing they ask, okay, what are my benefits? What is the amount of free time that I have from job? So, and this is something that is reasonable, is understandable, but the fact that if you want to be an Olympic player, you have to train like an Olympian, not like something that is working more or less. And so this is the fact that in the young generation there is someone that has this type of needs, that the type of aggressivity to reach extraordinary results, and they know very well inside themselves that they have to pay the price. And that price is not economical. It's about your life. What you want to sacrifice about your life. You sleep, less sleep in the night, working during the night, laptop open, studying, set up the picture, improve your cases, and this is important. And I think we will have in the future as well, because the technology is upping a lot, but there is a small element that is hidden element that makes the difference. And so I think that we will have the speakers. In this moment, maybe we have too many speakers, and this is why we have also so many congresses, so many events. Probably we will calm down, but we will have also for the future young generation speakers that will lead.
Hopefully. So time is flying, Federico. I could continue for hours talking to you, but let's sum it up. And one question I always ask at the end, if I talk to an experienced colleague like you are, what advice can you give young colleagues out there? So what are your, let's say, 1, 2, 3 key points that you give as a home message, let's say, to our young colleagues listening out there?
Yes, what I can say exactly, decide what type of professional you want to be, what type of championship you want to play in, and then you set very well your goals. Someone has the illusion to become amazing, to become I don't want to talk about speakers or not, because this is another job, but as a professional, very high reputed, with an important brand positioning. So if you want to be in an average, I don't want to say that with easily, because this is not an easy job. The minimum target for me is anyway a very high target for the average of the people. Tell you the truth, my personal standard is something that for someone is very high standard, but I want to set myself on a high standards. But anyway, even if you don't have specific ambitions, you have to work hard. You have to to find the correct mentors, the correct societies, the correct group, and follow them in order to grab and to have those information that you can apply. But moreover, if you want to strive excellence, you have to build up, and to build up your own career, your own standard is not when you are close to the pension. You say, come on, I'm young now, I want to enjoy life. Yes, but if you are that one that want to enjoy life now, probably you will run back to the goals in some way later. So is the moment to pay some price in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, in terms of energy that you put in your own profession is when you are young. Because thanks to this, you will have advantages and you will live an easier and more satisfying life later. The opposite is something that it doesn't work, unfortunately. So there is a moment to push hard and to give all the energies.
I totally agree. As for example, our two sons, they tell me we want to work hard, that when we get 40 or 50, we can really enjoy our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you cannot say you wait until 30, 40 to push. Then you will not make it in 10 years to being able enjoying life. And life is really short. And if you're young, you also, as you stated correctly, you have the power, the energy to do something and not just hanging around.
Absolutely.
And again, I always tell all young colleagues out there, dentistry is a hard profession. You cannot sit on a boat with your cell phone and make business. You have to sit on the chair, make you know,
Yes.
in a
Yes.
bad position and work hard. But I think if you have the passion and love, and I know that you, Federico, you have the passion and love for your profession. And what I also appreciate a lot is that you are ready to share your knowledge, which is something that I think is very important. And I thank you very much for doing so, that what you have learned, that you try sharing it. Some people may say, yeah, he's selling us his workshops, his courses. I think this is okay. So it's like other people that build up education centers and giving high quality education, because at the universities sometimes we don't get the high quality education, especially in manual skills. With the Bologna Reformation, dentistry and all and other professions have changed, becoming more scientific and less manual. And one of the professions that suffered the most from this restructure, from these new structures, was dentistry, because they reduced the number of practical work on the patients, which I think is one of the key elements in our profession. So maybe a final word on this before we end this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you have a passion, and when you are so lucky to be in a position like you, like me, like someone else, that is not only fortune, it's because you did something in order to be in that position. Otherwise, the life is not giving nothing you for free. But anyway, once you arrive there, it makes sense that you share and you transmit to the others something that you had the fortune to have from someone else, that maybe you reorganize, maybe you put something about from yourself about new evolutions, but this is a sort of a circle of the life. And so when you are so lucky, you have to bring, but you have also to go back to the life, to the new generations. And especially for people like me that finally, okay, I write some articles, but mainly I'm a clinician. So what you can share more is what you can do with your hands in a clinical job. And I think that this attitude should be, you're right, I'm selling my workshop, I'm selling my seminars, my courses, because this is one of my work. It's like, I would like to say to these guys, are you asking money for your filling, for your crowns, for your implants to the patients, or you do for free? It depends. If you are a professional, you should be paid because you have a lot of cost. Like if you are a dentist.
No,
So
I totally,
yes.
I totally
But
agree.
I'm absolutely okay with this, and I don't want to be liked from everyone, or to be understood from everyone. But the fact I'm a professional. I have an educational company, and I know that I can share the maximum as I can in 5 minutes video online for free. But what I can share in a 16 days course, in 4 days course, from 9 in the morning to 8 in the PM is more, and this needs an organization. So, but anyway, every time we have the opportunity to share something useful to someone else, we have to take this opportunity. Absolutely.
Grazie mille, Federico. It was a pleasure having you here tonight. So thanks people out there on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. On Facebook, you can also watch it later and add some comments. Also on LinkedIn, I will always also try to make a short summary and post it also on my Instagram channel, so that this information gets out there to as many people as possible. And thanks again.
Thanks a lot. And I want to have the interview will switch our position. I will ask you something about aesthetic dentistry, about color and appearance, for a new format that we create for SCAD, for the society I'm president now, that we call the SCAD Espresso. And we will have this some minutes interview with QL top speakers to have their opinion. So I will interview soon on this format.
Thank you very much. Grazie mille. Let's say a last welcome message of the end of Engin, our Turkish friend.
Ciao, Engin.
Ciao. And we will hopefully meet soon in the near future, also in person. So stay safe, stay healthy. May the world be a better place tomorrow. We have to work on all this, but let's focus on whatever we can to make it a better place. Grazie mille, Federico. Please stay here. I will play the outro, and see you again soon.
See you. Thanks a lot.